Sarah's Twisted Adventure. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled in the heart of the woods, there lived a young girl named Sarah. She was known for her bright red hair and her love of exploring the forest that surrounded her home. One day, while out on one of her adventures, Sarah stumbled upon an old, abandoned cabin deep in the woods. The cabin was in a state of disrepair, with boarded up windows and a door that hung off its hinges. But something about the cabin called out to her, and she couldn't resist the urge to investigate. As she entered the cabin, Sarah was greeted by the musty smell of age and decay. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling and the floorboards cracked beneath her feet. But as she ventured further into the cabin, she found something truly strange. There, in the corner of the room, was a strange, ancient-looking book. The cover was made of dark leather and was adorned with strange symbols and runes. Without hesitation, Sarah reached for the book and opened it. But as soon as she touched the pages, a feeling of dread washed over her. Her vision began to cloud, and she felt as if she were being pulled into the pages of the book. Suddenly, she found herself in a dark, twisted version of her own world. The forest was twisted and corrupted, and the sky was a sickly shade of green. As Sarah walked through this twisted version of her home, she realized that she was not alone. Something was watching her, stalking her through the twisted trees. She could feel its eyes upon her, and she knew that it was only a matter of time before it caught up to her. Desperate to escape this nightmare, Sarah began to run. She ran through the forest to the twisted forest, her heart pounding in her chest. And as she ran, she could hear the thing that was haunting her getting closer and closer. Finally, Sarah stumbled upon a clearing, and there, in the center of the clearing, stood the cabin. She had made it back to the cabin, but she knew that she was not safe yet. The thing that had been haunting her was still out there, waiting for her. With shaking hands, Sarah reached for the book once again. She flipped through the pages, searching for a way out of this twisted world. And as she did, she realized that the book was a gateway to a dark and ancient realm, and that by opening it, she had unknowingly unleashed a terrible evil upon her world. With a sense of dread, Sarah closed the book and ran out of the cabin. She never spoke of her experience to anyone, and the cabin was never found again. But to this day, some say if you venture deep enough into the woods, you can still hear the sound of something haunting through the twisted trees, and the echo of a young girl's screams. The Shadow Man. Once upon a time, there was a small town called Ravenswood, known for its eerie atmosphere and dark history. The town was said to be cursed, and many of the residents lived in fear of the unknown. One day, a group of friends who were fascinated by the town's dark past decided to investigate the rumors of the curse. They heard stories of a mysterious figure that roamed the streets at night, known as the Shadow Man. The friends, armed with flashlights and cameras, set out to explore the town at night. As they walked through the deserted streets, they felt a sense of unease and fear creeping over them. They soon came across an old, abandoned house and decided to investigate it. As they entered the house, they were greeted by the musty smell of age and decay. They explored the rooms, taking pictures and videos of their findings. But as they reached the last room, they heard a strange noise coming from behind the closed door. Curiosity got the best of them, and they opened the door. Inside, they found a dark, ominous figure standing in the corner of the room. It was the Shadow Man, and he was watching them. The friends were paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. The Shadow Man began to move towards them, and they realized that it was not a man at all, but a dark, shadowy figure with no face. It reached out towards them with long claw-like fingers, and the friends ran out of the house as fast as they could. They never spoke of their experience to anyone, and the town of Ravenswood was never the same again. The Shadow Man had been unleashed upon the town, and to this day some say that you can still see him roaming the streets at night, searching for his next victims.